This is where I think that it's a little crazy like a fox, maybe just crazy, but they did a huge PR round this week. And in every interview, it was a talking point from the company that they had spent 1.8 million of their raise on this domain. So they want people to talk about this. I think they knew that this would go viral, and it's getting them a ton of coverage. So I think that there's actually a narrative here that this founder is very savvy and he knew how to break through. Xander, this is our junk food portion for this week. My timeline has been ablaze with talk about Friend.com. So Friend.com is the latest hyped product in AI wearables that came out of nowhere this week. The creator of Friend is this guy, Avi Schiffman. He first became known. He made a really widely used public database and website for COVID-19 tracking. He also launched a really widely used refugee assistance site during the Russia-Ukraine conflict. And this is his first big journey into tech. Friend.ai is this pendant that's powered by Anthropic's Claude 3.5 model. So they are not building the AI model. They're just building a physical device that's using this model. And this is not why this was in the news. There's other wearable AI products that have been trying to go to market. Nothing has really caught fire yet. But why was this in the news this week? Friend.com did not start as Friend.com. It was originally called Tab, and the founders originally, I've seen two different numbers for this. They initially raised $1.9 million. I saw another more recent number that said 2.5 million. Either way, they spent 1.8 million of this to buy the domain friend.com. Again, to restate, they raised between 1.9 and 2.5 million. And then for a tech hardware company, spent 1.8 million of that to buy the domain name so they could be friend.com instead of Tab. And they're just getting clowned on this left and right for a few reasons. So, the bear case here is this is everything bad about startup culture. There's no new real innovation here. It's just another white labeling and repackaging of an available algorithm and LLM that can be used by anyone with using Claude. We've seen other products come to market that are just wrappers for ChatGPT. They're very cynical in some respects that you're just repackaging this, and then that they would use all of their VC or the bulk of their VC fundraise to just buy a domain. So that is the bear case, and that's what most of the narrative around this has been.
Yeah, so at a highest level, I think it's interesting because they're basically creating a new form factor to interface with Claude, which is supposed to be one of the best models. And in the abstract, I think that is actually not a bad thing. You have people who focus on the models and people who focus on the interface, and together they sing and dance and have a very beautiful product. I do have a very serious question about their business model, which is to say it's $99 for a one-time fee to buy this thing. Now, in the background, there's a huge amount of digital infrastructure that goes on to make this thing work on an ongoing basis, and there's no subscription. I can
make you even more skeptical about this, Xander.
Great.
So I did a lot of research on this, and I read an article that was an interview with the founder from just earlier this year. It was an article from February. And at that time, when it was called Tab, this sticker price was $600.
Jesus.
And it had a $50 a month subscription price.
That's crazy. They need ongoing revenue. There is no way, because they have ongoing costs. There's just the business model is upside down from the beginning. And these guys I don't want to say they're fucked, but they need to raise money. Otherwise, this business doesn't work.
Right. And in their FAQ, it actually explicitly says that there's no subscription cost.
I was just reading that, which is why I'm the cost structure of the business is upside down. So the only way this company survives is they have to raise more money, which is hence the crazy marketing blitz. And then on the back end, they have to pivot their business model or build ancillary product lines. Man, it's peak VC, man. This is why I live here, baby. This is why I'm in Silicon Valley.
So I think this is a bit of an Adam Newman WeWork kind of play from a founder perspective, which is all right, I think they probably launched with a business model that was more sustainable. They probably mapped something out that said, okay, cool. If we sell these for $600 and we get a $50 per month subscription, if we ship, X million units, we'll have a sustainable business.
Right.
I think that didn't get traction. And so they just YOLO the rest of their raise into a domain name. And they're proudly proclaiming. So this is where I think that it's a little crazy like a fox, maybe just crazy. But they did a huge PR round this week. And in every interview, it was a talking point from the company that they had spent 1.8 million of their raise on this domain. So they want people to talk about this. I think they knew that this would go viral. And it's getting them a ton of coverage. So I think that there's actually a narrative here that this founder is very savvy and he knew how to break through. There's also a narrative buried in here where at most there was $600,000 of this that was not spent on the domain. So you're telling me that a small team used at most a 600K raise, including the cost of their PR, which seems like it's pretty robust,
Right.
and built a functional working prototype of an AI wearable. I'd say maybe that's a little bullish.
I think it's just probably the guy, right? The CEO. He's just like some elite hacker, right? He's probably doing most of the development himself with a small team.
Yeah, so I think this is almost like the founder trying to build a brand for himself as someone who's like a swing for the fences. The headline in one of the articles about them was that like he's trying to build a replacement for God.
Okay.
So there are people in the VC world that like these swing for the stars founders. So maybe at this point, when it was clear that they didn't have traction as a sustainable business, they're just trying to build a story that takes over tech and gets them the funding they need to do the next thing that they're doing.
Yeah. Well, I will concede that I think their point around them, this being very smart growth tactics specifically and marketing tactics specifically, I think you're right. I think they've really amplified their PR, and maybe it's worth 9 million or 8 million, whatever it was. That being said, I have very serious questions about the structure of their business model, and I'm not going to invest, but no one's asking me. So
last thing I love in their FAQ, and my favorite thing on it is, what happens when I break the device? Your friend and the memories are attached to the physical device. If you lose or damage your friend, there is no recovery plan.
Kind of like real life.
Yeah, your friend is dead.
That's it. That's it. That's the episode, Warren. Get us out of here.
All right. Weird one this week, but thank you everyone for joining us for the Uptick Games Growth podcast. As always, it is brought to you by the friendly team here at Uptick. Here at Uptick, we do all things to make games grow, hopefully in a profitable and sustainable way for you, the game developer. So if you are building a great game and need folks to help you scale that profitably, reach out to us through our website. That's upptrc.com.
Talk soon.